I'm using I'm using the Lucid, but I just messed up.
You're messing it up?
I messed up. So that'll be an opportunity to show how to fix your mess up.
Oh, good.
So today we want to share with you our sort of tassel. Come over here a little bit, Milo.
Okay.
Our tassel making techniques. It's not elaborate. There's a lot of tassel tutorials on YouTube, but we're putting together kind of with the wet felting, the lucette, which I'm going to show you, and the tassel making, ways to adorn your animals that particularly go well with a nativity, or if you want them to be sort of deserty, nomadic looking. So we're doing this in conjunction with the Fiber Fairy Friday, which means part of the materials that we're using are part of the giveaway. These are not things that, the yarns for the tassels are not things that we stock regularly. So they're in this giveaway. But you can find yarn pretty easily. The sparklier, the better. So we have like kind of these color themes going on. And we do stock the pre-felt, the merino pre-felt, which is great for making the blankets. And then all sorts of colors of merino for wet felting. And we have a new little mini wet felting kit, which is listed in the wet felting tools page. That's just a really convenient size for small things, so you're not getting out your whole 30 by 36 inch wet felting kit. So we're going to show you our little tassel maker, tassel techniques, and I'm going to show you the blankets, but I'm not going to do a wet felting tutorial. We have wet felted vessels, wet felted flowers. I feel like we just did another one recently.
Yeah, we did.
What was it?
Well, it was like the pillow.
Oh yeah.
Beading.
Wet felted for the beading. So it's all done the same. So we're not gonna lay that out, but we're gonna show the tassels, and I'm gonna show this cool. So this is a Viking tool, and this particular one is made by a woodworker that I met at Maryland Sheep and Wool, Stephen and Linda Willett, and I'm gonna give you their link to their website and their tutorial on using it, which goes way more in depth than I will. But when we go over the shoulder, I'm going to show you close up the cording that it makes and how it's fun as a trim or an accompaniment to all these other things. Is that everything?
I think so. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay.
There's a lot going on here, Milo.
This is fun stuff.
It's
not what it usually looks like.
I know. There's basically three components. You've got your wet felted blanket. This is a little pod that I salvaged from the flower tutorial. This is a little vessel, so it's made with a resist. So that would either be the flower tutorial or the vessels tutorial. And then you've got your tassel component. And then there's the cord, which we're making on this fun tool. So the cord can be sewn on as trim. It can become a little halter or girth or reins or whatever's needed. So first, let me just demo the lucette just to show how simple it is. I'm not going to do a complicated demonstration showing how to start it and end it because all of that already exists. The makers of the lucette made a lovely video. And so all it is pulling a loop tight and throwing it over, and then you turn it and you pull the loop tight and put it over. So it's a very satisfying thing to do. And depending on the material you use, you can make all kinds of things. Like they even had a heavier cord and made dog leashes. So it can be sort of fine or very utilitarian and chunky. Now the cool thing is we also made tassels on the lucette. And we made the really little ones on here. I will show you. Whoops, I got myself twisted up. Okay. So, let's see, so on this, we made these little teeny tiny ones. And we made them by, let me find a fiber real quick. We made them by taking a couple of strands. Actually, I think when I did it, I had one long strand. And going around here. You have to sort of hold it in place. And then you can tie your center here. Just push that through on one side. Tassels are fussy, Milo.
They are fussy.
Fussier than I usually like to be.
You're using all the same color there, which makes it a little more difficult to see the tie.
Yes. And then you tie it. And now you think, Sarah, it's stuck. It's like one of those puzzles. You got to figure out how to get it off. But if you slip it down, it gives you wiggle room and you can trim the sides. Just be really careful not to, in any way, you don't want to hit your tool. You don't want to scratch up your tool. And then once these are cut, then it just pops right off. Whoops, I missed one. So that's how to make the little tassel on there. And you just bring these all down together. What did I do?
Well,
I got
yep.
it. You're right. I should have made the tie a different color.
It's a little trickier to see what's going on.
Okay. I'll show on the other one. All right. Well, anyway, then you go around here, which I'm going to show on the bigger tassel. This is like a fussy little thing, and then you trim it even. So Stephen Willett, Willettee, Stephen and Linda, and the website is stephenwillett.com, and we will link it.
We can link it in the.
Yep. Okay. So with the Fiber Fairy giveaway, you're getting 2 little bundles of fancy yarns. Which color would you like me to use?
Oh, I don't know. They're so pretty.
We'll use aqua. And then each of these bundles, and now, like I said, if you're not getting the Fiber Fairy and you're just learning from this tutorial, you're just going to collect your pretty yarns. What you'd want to do is split these in half. So make sure you get a little bit of each kind of fiber, each kind of yarn in each one.
You want thick, you want thin.
You want
if you're
thick,
gathering your
thin.
own yarn, you want different textures.
You want sparkle. I got a gold in each one. I need to get a little bit of the sparkle over here.
Anything that's too thick and you would have a gigantic tassel. So as you're gathering your yarn, try to look a little thinner.
Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to put a couple more over here. I have a silk in each one. Put one more of these.
No, I got those. Okay, we'll call that good. Oh, my bracelet's very jingly. Okay. And then cut yourself, this seems to be a good size. This is 4.5 by 4.5. And then I marked a little center X. So that would be at 2.25. And 2.25. You'll see why you need the center X in a minute. Each tassel needs a band, like a banding that goes around it. Let me see if I have one that shows it off better. And a tie. This one has gold. This will show. So I picked gold for this banding and purple silk for the tie. You can put the silk can be the banding, or the silk can even go into the tassel. I think on these, I put silk into the tassel. It's really cute. All right, so each card, whoops, this goes with this. Each time you wrap the card, you're going to tie off on one side, tie off on the other side, and cut the ends, and that makes 2 tassels. So this size card will make 2 tassels for you. So you want to save out whatever you choose to be your tie. So let me do it this way. I'm going to split my silk in half and use one as the tie and put one into the tassel. I'm just going to cut this off. This silk is sewn together, and some of your yarns are tied together. They're hand tied. Okay, so I'm going to cut this in half, and this will be the 2 ties that go with the 2 tassels that come over here. And then I'm going to pick whatever I want my band to be, and I think I'll just do a kind of smallish blue. I'll do this more regular yarn. And I'm going to cut this in half, and that'll be my 2 bands that hold everything together. So the rest of it, I can now line up the ends. See how fussy it is?
It's fussy. I'm wondering if the video camera is picking up the fly that's buzzing around.
I want to get at least one end all lined up, so that when I go to wrap my card, everything's pretty much aligned at one end. And you want about, I might even take one of these out. You want about 6 to about 8, I guess. You'll see. You'll play with it. But with the bundles we gave should definitely make 4 tassels each. Okay, now I'm going to use my tie. I watched a bunch of tassel tutorials to make my tutorial, and there were techniques for hiding the knots. So I'm looking for that center marker that I put on there, and that's where I'm tying this tie. It was way too fussy for me. Like, you tie a knot up here, then you turn it around, but then all your stuff's just hanging around in there. I like to just get this secure, and then if you do an extra loop on that second knot, it's not going anywhere. And these are so small that, you know, it's not like you're making like a great big tassel that's going to hold back your curtain or anything like that.
The silk you want to pull nice and tight, but don't pull so tight that you rip the silk. I did that once.
You did?
That little 2-loop thing is new. Didn't do that when I made mine.
No. Extra measure. It's an extra measure. A square knot should be fine, but so then you're going to get your scissors in here and cut it at each end. Now after you cut one, you can take it off. You can put your knots on each side, and then use your center mark to cut that in the center. Okay, so this is going to come out the top. You're going to pull everything down. And then take your band, and I just leave about 3 to 4 inches to tie it. And then I go around as many times as you want your band to be thick. Now, in the effort of not showing any knots, you could put this on a needle and then put the needle down through there a couple of times. But like I said, it is way too tedious for me. So I am just tying my knot.
Everyone's checking out the camel and the donkey, so they're not like
Right. They're not scrutinizing
the tassel knot.
your tassel. Then if this is a similar color, it usually looks okay just to let it hang in there. If it's a different color and it's kind of sticking out, you might just want to cut it off. But then I pull all this even and trim. Whoopsie. And there's your little tassel. Do I need to do another one?
I think people can hit rewind if they're like really.
Okay.
Well, you want to show some of your blanket ideas and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'll show you some blanket ideas. Oh my gosh. Now we have a lot of tassels. This is pretty. This was a hand spun that I picked up that I thought made a nice little tie. So he's got a little wet felted blanket. I took one of the strands of yarn and did a blanket stitch. So you could pull out, there's plenty of fiber in these bundles. You could pull one out to save for this kind of trim detail. And then this was made on the Lucet. But for the Lucet, you need a continuous long piece of yarn. You can't use the stuff that's cut up for the tassels. Sorry. Okay, this one is just the gold pre-felt with some silk, wet felted. I've played with cutting up the pre-felt and doing some geometric patterns. Didn't love these as much, but there's so much you can do, and really it gets down to how much detail you want to put into it. So this one has like a big chunky blanket stitch on the end, has a little one of the little vessels, and you could go to town. You could bead these,
Yeah.
It just goes on and on. But it looks good. All our tutorials for the camel, the donkey, the sheep, the goat, the pony, what else? They're to scale enough that if you wanted to make a nativity, they would look really, really cute together. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
No, you talked about the wet felting kit. We showed how to make the tassel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to show the other blue tassels? Just
blue
that last
ones?
blanket.
This one? It's really fun, like picking out your colors. Yeah, this one's pretty.
And so many.
This was just a piece of yarn I had.
Yeah, so many overlap and go together and.
Oh yeah, they look really good together. I need to make more critters on which to put these tassels and blankets.
This is true.
All right.
Have fun.
Yep. Thank you.